Late President Kim Young-sam, without doubt, leaves behind a political legacy. He was an important figure in South Korea's pro-democracy movement and a peaceful power transfer to civilian rule in a country that had been marked by military coups. Who was Kim Young-sam and how has he changed Korea's modern politics? Well, joining us live via Skype is Dr. Robert E. Kelly, professor of political science at Busan National University. Bob, good to see you again.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Now, what kind of a political legacy does Kim Young-sam leave behind? I mean, how has he changed or shaped Korean politics?
Sure. I think Kim did sort of four big things. The first is that he was really the first genuinely democratically elected president in Korea. Right, there's sort of a lot of dispute about how independent 1987 was. There was still a lot of influence by the military. So Kim was really the first one to be sort of elected without any kind of external influence. I think that was sort of the big thing. The second thing, and this is important because of the Asian financial crisis, that Kim is also one of the first to make an effort to try to rein in the table. This didn't really work out, right? His son got in trouble for corruption, which sort of damaged the anti-corruption drive. But that was the first effort. And this, of course, has been a big issue in Korean politics for decades, right? Sort of what exactly the regulatory environment for the table should be. And then finally, I think the other big thing that he did is he dissuaded the United States from attacking North Korea. This has actually turned out to be quite controversial. My understanding is that Kim has actually come to regret that the United States did not actually launch airstrikes because the North Korean nuclear program has actually gone much further, I think, than many people expected. But, I mean, many of your viewers will remember that in 1994, this was a big deal. Many people thought there was going to be a second Korean War.
Sure.
And he was instrumental in encouraging Bill Clinton not to attack.
Right, and I do think that he said it in his memoir that he regrets that. Now, many say that this is the end of the two Kim era. Of course, two Kims being late President Kim Dae-jung, whose presidency immediately followed that of Kim Young-sam, and a lifelong political rival. How would you compare and contrast the two?
Yeah, I definitely think rival is a good way to put it. I mean, we know that the two of them went back and forth and back and forth. I think the second Kim Dae-jung, was a little bit disappointed when the first Kim sort of lined up with the conservatives in 1990. I think this was pretty controversial, and I think for many people in the South Korean left, this suggested that Kim Young-sam sort of sold out the ideals that helped get him, into office later and things like that. I think he's sort of a controversial figure on the left. I do think, though, sort of globally, I think that Kim Dae-jung will have a far longer reputation, a far wider reputation, because he initiated the Sunshine Policy, he got the Nobel Prize, right? I mean, I do think that the latter Kim sort of trumped, if you will, the former Kim. I think Kim Young-sam was something of an incremental sort of status quo figure. And I think it was good for getting Korea sort of out of the military age, sort of a period into sort of democracy. But I'm not sure if he was really a transformative leader. I would say Kim Dae-jung was more that.
Right. How will the rest of the world remember, one, the pro-democracy activist, the politician Kim Young-sam, and two, Kim Young-sam, the 14th president of the Republic of Korea?
Sure. Well, when we study democratization movements, we always have sort of these important figures like Kim Dae-jung and Kim Young-sam, or Aung San Suu Kyi in Southeast Asia. So we have sort of these important figures, Nelson Mandela, who sort of come forward and really sort of crystallize the movement. And I think Kim will be remembered for that. I think so that's sort of the upside. I think his presidency is a little bit more mixed, right? I think his presidency, he tried to rein in the table, it didn't really work, and then the Asian financial crisis came later, and I think he got some blame for that, right? I think his presidency is sort of a mixed bag. So I think on the upside, you've got the Democratic activist part, and I think that will really anchor his reputation both abroad and in Korea's history textbooks. As a president, my sense is is a mixed bag, that people see him as sort of like a sort of so-so figure, a good transitional figure, but not really like one of Korea's great democratically elected president.
Right, and we will have to wait further as to how he will be, I guess, written in history books for the future generations to remember him by. All right, Robert E. Kelly, professor of political science at Busan National University. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me again, Carmen.